Hello my friends, and Gabriel with the Last Huntsman Outdoors here. I am probably more excited for this knife than I have just about any other, and I'm going to be a little biased here just because this is my design. This is going to be an introduction to the Huntsman. I think I'm going to finalize on the name. I'm going to call it the Huntsman Woods Knife, because I kind of want to come out with like a smaller version that will actually be a little better for like a straight up hunting knife. But you know, if you're needing something that's more of like a woods tool while you're on your hunting adventures, that's what I designed this one for. So let's check out my knife, the Huntsman Woods Knife. All right, so I want people to understand that right off the bat that this is just a prototype. I don't know exactly how the production models will be because, quite frankly, I haven't found or decided on a knife company to produce it. I do have some leads though. Now, this prototype is 52-100 steel. I had Bear Force Knives produce it, and I requested him just because he does amazing work, and I kind of get a feel and style for different knife makers. And when I designed up this knife, I was like, man, Bear Force Knives would actually do a really good job with this design. And he completely knocked it out of the park. So what I wanted was something that would just be a good woods tool that's kind of in that like 6.5 inch blade length, which is what I got. It's right under 13 inches overall length. It's 3/16 thick. It's kind of a 2/3 high saber grind, but as you guys can see, it's actually narrow down at the base of the blade and flares out. It's kind of like a smatchet style blade design, and I wanted a decent guard on there. I didn't want any kind of like possibility for my hand to slip forward. And of course I wanted a good swelled out end here, just so I can kind of do that, like, I call it my Becker grip, because I think Becker was one of the first knives that I used that I could really just kind of choke back on, and it gives me a lot of power for this size of knife. Now, the sheath I had produced for it, this is all completely a work of art itself. This is Michael Spangers with Spirit of the Bear Leatherworks. He made this sheath for me, and what I wanted was a leather sheath with a tech lock on it that I can take on and off my belt without having to take my whole belt off. I actually really am impressed with what he did with this, and him putting my logo on there was a really nice touch for sure. But let's get testing on this knife and do some batoning. It's a 6.5 inch blade, so it's going to be about SE6 size. Knotty piece of cedar. Just pop that piece right apart. Thank you to Bear Force Knives for helping produce this knife here, and thank you for Michael Spangers for making the amazing leather sheath for it. I have a feeling my design here, and I'm not trying to be biased or anything, but I have a feeling it's gonna baton pretty well with a high saber grind and a wide blade like that. What do you guys think? gonna do a little bit of de-limbing here. With the Huntsman Woods Knife here. That smatchet style blade does pretty good chopping for its size. This knife has a lot of power for its size. For size reference, it's about the same overall length as an SE6, but it has a lot more power than the SE6 with that blade design. I'm just going to chop into the top of the stump here just to kind of see what it can do. Now this is a 6.5 inch blade, so it's not going to be some heavy chopper. But it's sinking in decently well for its size, and it's 3/16 thick. Now this prototype is made out of 52-100. I have no idea what steel I'll go with if I can get a production model made. But yeah, that's really good for its size. Another test I'm going to do with my own knife here, the Huntsman Woods Knife. I'm just going to do some slicing, and I'm going to do the famous, what I call the Ninja Death Grip. I'm just going to do like a good hard hammer grip and just kind of see how it feels in hand here. Now, one thing about the design here that's interesting is because the blade flares out, as you're slicing with it, it actually, the blade just grabs the material, which is pretty interesting. And as far as the ergonomics go, it feels a little bit like a slimmer profile Becker handle, which feels just great in hand, honestly. Feels amazing in hand. All right, another test I'm going to try with my own knife design here is I'm just going to see how well this can actually be a potential combat knife or a soldier knife. One of the things that I designed on it is I wanted like a real deep guard, and I wanted this thing to index really good. I didn't want it to be too round and rotate in my hands. So let's just try it out here. So it's very quick in hand. That little bit of forward weight actually just kind of almost helps it. Now, will say with that broad tip, just try some stabbing. It's not really going to be the best stabber. However, with that broad blade like that, it will slash and chop amazingly well. And I did have a little bit of an extended tang on there, and of course you can use that as a good old attitude readjustment, but I also like having just a tad bit of an extended tang just to tap some things in or crush some things while I'm doing bushcraft stuff. So this would actually make, what I hope anyways, would be a great bushcraft woods blade, and even a decent soldier type of blade too. All right, something else I wanted with this knife is I wanted a very sharp 90-degree spine, because like I said, this is going to be kind of geared more towards a woods knife. And so I wanted something that I could really scrape with. I'm scraping some fat wood here. But yeah, I'm getting some amazing fat wood fluff off of this. Something else we'll test here is how it can do some feather sticks. And I admit that I'm not like the best feather stick guy in the world too. It is very comfortable doing these. Oops. Pretty decent feathers and some thick ones. Still getting used to using my own design though. I'm gonna do a bit more batoning here, but I'm just gonna try to get some smaller pieces, really get a fire going. All right, something else with the Huntsman Woods Knife here is it has an amazingly sharp 90-degree spine. So I'm gonna see if I can get a fire going here. Wow. A lot of this stuff is pretty wet, so getting it going might be kind of fun. Using a lot of fat wood here, just trying to get a lot of this wet wood to burn. wood that's mostly being burned here is some fat wood, pine, fat wood, and cedar. Pine is a little harder to find in my area, but I have a lot of cedar, so I try to use cedar as much as possible. But the Huntsman Woods Knife does an amazing job here. Got a nice little cozy fire going back here. This knife did a really good job with Firecraft. That spine is amazingly sharp on here. And I did good fire prep too, getting a lot of fat wood and cedar together too. So tell me what you guys think of the Huntsman Woods Knife. I want your guys' honest initial impressions with it. This is, like I said, kind of an introduction to the to this knife. This is still in kind of prototype stage, so I'm still kind of browsing for a company to produce it. I got some ideas. I got a couple ideas, so I'm not like just totally lost in the sauce here. And I will be bringing this down with me to a blade show, but I plan on doing some more videos with this knife just to kind of show longer term use with it. But with all that being said, tell me what you guys think. Be prepared both physically and spiritually. God bless and carry on.